So when is screening necessary in gold recovery? A lot of people, we screen down. We hear that term all the time, screen down, screen down. And, the Dream Mat does a good job of catching all the heavy materials, but sometimes, that can be a little bit troublesome in panning because, as you can see with what I got in here, let's look at the shape of all these guys. A lot of people are recognizing the magnetite and the hematite tights, whatever. I'm not a geologist. But anyways, you see the rocks that are all cube shaped and they're all just perfectly squares. These are heavy little guys that plug up your sluice. And of course, I dropped below it a bunch of material that was mixed in with this because I'm just gonna go through some cons on the Miller table, blue bowl, stuff like that, and I want to screen it down so it doesn't we don't put all this stuff in it. And of course, when we were panning this stuff is so heavy, it just really gives us a hard time. Now let's just give this guy a little shake. I want to show you guys something. And then actually we'll uncover some of there it is, like this guy right here. Do you see him? See that nice piece of gold there? And what you see is there's a couple more pieces of gold. One right here on my fingertip. Another one there. And piece of gold right there. It is heavier material sometimes in the pan can create problems. And so I guess what I'm just trying to show some folks is that sometimes it's not the word screen down, it's screen up. Because you got all that stuff in there, the fine stuff's in there, it's grid locking in and you're shaking, and all these guys kind of rise to the surface or sink to the bottom. It depends on how heavy they are in your pan. And it kind of just gridlocks the whole system, and it's hard to swirl it out and move it. And so when you let it dry and you screen it like this, now I'm going to take this stuff here and I'm going to put it in a pan with some water, and it's going to be really easy to get that bigger gold out there. And now I'm going to run this through another system and get the smaller gold out there. And everything that's going to be, like 100 mesh stuff. So anyways, I just figured I'd show you kind of sometimes I go through mystery material all the time. It always seems like I have all this material I get from all these places, and I never mark it, and I'm so pitiful at cataloging. And I'm like, man, I gotta clean up that bucket. There looks like there might be some gold in there. I better check those. I can't tell if those are cons I went through already once or I haven't went through them yet. I don't know. And I always seem to run into that. And so here's I feel some cons that I concentrated and I ran, and I may have panned off once and scooped out some gold, but I didn't do a good job going through it. So I'm gonna finish it up. All right, I got my little Miller table here. I'm gonna do a little do-it-yourself cutting of the mat and glue it down for folks for the Miller table version. Even though I got one coming from Paul, I'm gonna use a silicone that's safe. It'll actually pull off of here really nice and easy, but it'll just be a gill illustration, little walkthrough for people to see how I would basically secure one down. And then I'll run some of this material through it that I just got done talking about with the screening down. And we'll run that through it over the Dream Mat into the Miller table tub, and we'll see what we get. Okay, I brought it in the house because it's warmer. So I got the table, the mat. I got me a good razor with a new blade. I got these cool tin snips that are really rugged and don't flex, and they're the angle cut ones I use to cut the mats with because this thing's work pretty good. Got my tape measure, straight edge, good Sharpie. So I'm gonna measure this thing out, and then I will cut this to size, and then after I cut the size, then I will silicone it in. So as you can see, I put these edges on here that kind of allow the mat to be trimmed in case your box is a little oversized. And when I cut this, I'm going to bevel it somewhat. Not going to cut it straight. Dog's wanting to help here. I'm going to bevel a little bit because that gives a place for the silicone to go underneath in that corner. So if I cut this perfectly flat, then there's just a little bit of room for silicone. So we're going to cut this guy. We're going to pull this knife, and as you can see, this nice sharp knife doesn't have no problem pulling through that edge. And a little bit of an angle. I ain't going to worry too much about it. I'm just going to pull it through. And it's going to be what it's going to be because the silicone's going to fill up that gap. All right, I got my line drawn for the width of the box. And hopefully we're good. If we are a little shy, hopefully, because then we'll have some silicone. And I like these kind of scissors because, or these shears, because they stay nice and straight with the cut. And you can kind of feel it kind of pop, pop, pop through the urethane. In the other cutters that are angled, like the other tin sneers, they just seem to go off at an angle. In these straight scissors, they're so tight, the jaws are, they don't spread. They seem to do a super good job, I think. All right, so we got our piece off of here. And we're going to now I'm going to bevel this edge just a little bit with a knife. We'll see how it fits first. So hopefully I don't have to take off any more. So, sits in there nice and flat. No, perfect. So, and you notice that I got the hole here where the stuff comes out to my little collection vial. Then I got the screws down here where I got to screw it to the little plate that holds it across on my table. So I'm going to set it just short of those screws, and then I'll have my silicone bead that builds a ramp here. And the reason I don't want to cut this at a ramp is the urethane is because it'll look bad. In the silicone, it will do just as good of a job. And then all of the silicone fans can say that strip of silicone right here caught all the gold. Because, there's this silicone group out there that, it's kind of like, has an infinitive to gold thing going on. Anyways, cool beans. Okay, I'm going to grab some 100% silicone out of the shed. And I'm going to do the edges, do a couple dabs in the middle. One thing nice about this, on this surface, is actually a powder coat surface. This is what this is. Even though it's got the ribs on it, you can see it's got like a built-up profile underneath. It's powder coated over, and it's a powder coat that's kind of rubbery. The silicone will peel off of this after it dries, and even the thin parts where I smeared, I'll be able to rub it back and forth with a finger after it dries and ball it right off. So it's not permanent, but it's really good, so it doesn't damage your whatever you got going. Now, some chalk boards and some air boards, you may have to figure out what you're going to use to hold your mat down that isn't going to maybe grab into that porous chalk paint or board. Do little sample dabs, let it dry, come back the next day, see which one rolls off, or in an area where a small enough area that isn't going to damage as much, because we don't want to ruin your piece of equipment. You want to be able to take it back to where it was if you choose to have buy a bigger board and put a fuller size mat in it and have a water table. I'm actually going to be pulling this mat out of here after I get one of these from Paul Jarvis that has actually got the mat in it. So I'll be actually turning this back to a water table. So I have both, because it's just fun to have stuff, and have the opportunity to do more than one thing. In some circumstances, some piece of equipment may outshine another piece of equipment, and that's just the reality. There we go. So silicone I'm putting down, and we're gonna slide this thing over the top. Position it right in front of those screws. Give her a little love. Squirt that up amongst the sides like it'll do and seal nice. And I put it enough where I don't plan on overdoing it to where I gotta smear the silicone flat on the sides. If it gets clogged eventually with a little bit of sand and stuff, I'm gonna call that seasoning and just let it kind of fill up, and after a while it'll just fill up with dirt. That good enough for me. So now the challenge is to do my little bead across the top here, and we'll do that next. So I'm gonna kind of do the bathtub cock thing and pull a bead across here, flatten this out, trawl it, as some people would say. Come back the other direction. Need some more material in there. Squeegee it off. Remember, with caulking, it's never too late till it's dry. Another thing too, we gotta realize is that we're not building a rocket. And this is just prospecting equipment. I need some material right there. Let's squirt down into that little groove. There we go. We're not building a rocket, and we are just watching mud and rocks. All right, so here now I got this edge. Just gonna wipe it with my finger a little bit. One more time, and I think I got it. Let's go real slow. There we go. Look at that. Oh, that looks nice. Come back the other direction. Peel off. You'll have that one little lip because you peeled off. You can't help that unless you can somehow magically stop it. This end here needs a little help. Look at that. I goobered it. Ooh. Now if I just had a smaller, shorter trawl, there, that was a good transition. I'll just peel up my mess here and get me another little card.
I will. Better one.
Mr. Wyatt's doing the film here. And peel off some silicone there. Now it's rag time. Now I just got a couple little spots to hit with the rag, and I think that will do it. Well, there it is. There's my edge, nice and clean. There's my sides. She's in there ready to go. I gotta go to the store, get a tote for a different deal. It'll dry. When we come back, we'll see how good dry she is. I might put her over by the fireplace, get her nice and toasty, and maybe we'll give her a run. Well, there's that material that I screened up, so to speak, and I'll go ahead and pan this out and grab the sparklies out of this first. There it is. There's the gold and some chunks of lead. Not quite sure. You know, I get platinum pay dirts every once in a while, so those didn't look like the flat oxidized lead, so I left it up in there. And that's the gold that was in there. I'm gonna sucker that out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and run the fine stuff over the new fitted micromat. Cool. Then I went to the store and got me a little bit bigger pond pump. One in between my Blue Bowl pond pump and between my Miller Table pond pump. I like the pond pumps because I plug them in. I don't have to do the 12-volt thing and let the battery go dead, so the pressure varies, so pressure's constant. I like that. So there we go. That's working it off a lot better and a lot faster. I'm going to feed some material onto this guy. And let's see if we can get this turn gold color up towards the top. Cool beans. Seeing the gold come down the top of the material I put in. And what's nice is that, you know, flippy gold will flip off the Miller Table, or the round coarse gold won't roll out because you'll get caught in the cells. Like that. Like that piece of gold right there. Cool. You can see that the real light fine gold, when it clears off, is sticking to the table. This is gonna be fun. Woohoo! Now I see why everybody's liking this. You know, I'm late in the game. I've let the customer develop the product instead of me trying to develop it. Let's see the customer does it. The customers are doing it, and I got 3 other people that are building it. Jarvis up in Canada, and then Klondike Clinkies, and then there's the Golden Pay Dirt Reviews, I think is what it's called. If they're building these tables because they like the gold capture, and 2 of them are pay dirt guys who handle dirt all the time, there's got to be something to it. And I think there is. Take a look, guys. Woohoo! Just showing some of the action in some of these cells, and you can see how fluid they get. And that material spins around in there, turns them up. You know, this is a whole lot funner than brushing. Yeah, you know, there's going to be a little bit of concentrates left when we clean this up. But man, look at this fine gold that's pulling down. Woohoo! This is a kick pants. I think I need to level it over towards the corner more. Even though the flow is saying it needs to be more towards the center, I think I got more flow on this side. So I don't think this is doing a good job of telling me where my flow is going. Yeah, I was talking to somebody earlier about the kinetic daisy chain that happens with the material, how it gets in a line and it stays in that line and it flows through all the cells, and you can see it. See how that's skipping through there? And how the tailings of one is going into the next cell, and then it goes out, the tailings of the next one is going into the next one. We see this on the bigger cells sometimes when we're running the black sand, and we know this is happening at the level where we're doing the regular sluice in the Dream Mat. And what we're done with that profile by doing that, see, here goes that daisy chain, see it's starting to flow through, see it's starting to make its trail. What we've done is we eliminated basically, or reduced turbulence. Look at this guy, see, look at it go. By reducing turbulence and keeping all the processes the same and keeping that secondary boundary layer in check and making all those jet wash over each one of your profiles, you get a constant results because you have a constant process. When you have a system that launches up a whole bunch of material and launches up a bunch of material and then kind of launches it again, it kind of like jet wash, like driving behind a car with your windshield wipers on, spray. And so what happens is you keep throwing stuff up. And with Dream Mat, you keep that secondary boundary layer in check. In the process goes through a daisy chain or kinetic siphon through the system and keeps the process very tight and down towards the mat. And so you get these constant results, these nice process. You get these cells that are siphoning off the process. And that's one of the things you try to explain to people. It's really hard to get a visual to. So there's your visual. So fun stuff. Find some better light. Alright, and now we'll get some good video. So, SWEEPALLOY, MISCELLANEUM, and a bucket of, guess what's in it? You know, I know some of it was tailings and some of it was dredge cons from high banking and stuff like that. So, yeah, look at that small gold. Ooh, that's the small stuff. I wonder if I can zoom in on it. If it'll let me. Ooh, look at that. Does Dream Mat catch small gold? I don't know. Maybe. Cool. Fun stuff. So there's the concentrates from the mat. And I can see how Jarvis's system, how the mat slides in and out, it's going to be a big advantage, for cleaning, because I had to tip it up inside and switch it out with a spray bottle. It didn't take long, but, still it'd be nicer to pull the mat out, dip it in the pan, and clean it off and slip it in there. So this will probably go back to a Miller table as soon as I get Jarvis's rig. Anyways, cool beans. There's the gold from the mat, and I'll dump out the gold that I collected in the sucker bottle from the, I already showed you guys that from the screen. So we already saw that. So suck this up, and then I'm going to pan again and see if there's anything else left over. Into the second pan. Look at all that lead in there. I get it wet, it looks like lead again. There we go. See all the lead? Does a good job pulling in those heavies.